What if almost everything you believed about the moon was wrong, and someone else already holds the real answers, working quietly while the rest of the world looks the other way?
While the world's gaze drifted to Mars rovers and billionaire space flights, a quiet revolution began. China took aim at the moon with a different mission, landing robotic explorers in untouched regions where no tire or boot has ever landed. Their work is not about spectacle, but about rewriting what we know. Every landing uncovers minerals, water, and mysteries where scientists once saw only barren dust. These are not just scientific footnotes. These discoveries could upend how we power cities and shape the world economy.
For most people, the moon is a background character, always present, rarely changing, its face familiar and almost mundane. We have all seen its craters through telescopes or even binoculars, mapped its phases, and perhaps learned about its pull on the tides in school. But for all our poems, legends, and scientific curiosity, we have barely scratched its surface, quite literally. If you piled up all the lunar rock samples ever collected by humanity, they would fit comfortably in the trunk of a single car.
We gaze up, seeing what looks like a calm, reliable companion in the night. The moon feels eternal and unchanged, a pale guardian that has circled Earth for thousands upon thousands of years. It is easy to imagine that it has always been there, unaltered, a silent witness to all of human history. Yet that comfort is, in many ways, a carefully crafted illusion. Our entire understanding of the moon comes from just a handful of old rocks gathered by a few astronauts over half a century ago, barely more than a dozen men, each bringing back precious grams of dust and stone. As others watched from a distance, China began mapping lunar riches, returning samples no one else has ever touched, and quietly laying groundwork for something far bigger. The true lunar revolution is unfolding in silence, behind headlines about space tourism and Martian dreams. Miss this, and we risk more than embarrassment. We risk losing our place in the next great space era, as others set the rules and claim the moon's future for themselves. But what exactly is China finding, and why does it matter for all of us? The answers could transform not only our understanding of the moon, but the fate of civilization itself. For decades, the moon faded into the background, a faded relic, quietly orbiting while humanity looked elsewhere. After the dust of Apollo and Soviet landers settled, our image of the moon barely changed. The best lunar knowledge came from only a few rocks, sealed in laboratories for more than half a century. But as the world cheered on live-streamed launches, China moved in silence. There were no grand speeches or fanfare, just a relentless, methodical approach, one mission stacking quietly upon the last.
Attention shifted. The world's media obsessed over Mars, billionaire stunts, and Cold War nostalgia. The moon became a symbol, not a frontier. NASA's focus wandered, budgets shrank, and lunar science was left stranded in the past. So what has China uncovered, and why are scientists worldwide?
It began with mapping. Chang'e 1 and Chang'e 2 orbited the moon, capturing detailed images and charting every scar and ridge. This groundwork was crucial. Then came the landers. Chang'e 3 touched down, sending a rover to explore. Chang'e 4 broke through the ultimate barrier, landing on the far side of the moon, something no nation had ever achieved.
The answers are already reshaping what we thought we knew about the moon, and what it might mean for our future on Earth and beyond. Here's the danger. If we cling to old myths and ancient rocks, we risk missing the real revolution. While others chase headlines, China rewrites the lunar rulebook, scouting resources, making discoveries, and drawing ever closer to the moon's untapped potential. With every mission, China pushed deeper. They explored untouched regions, tested new technologies, and returned samples never tainted by Earth's air. Suddenly, the moon was alive again, a world in motion, its story unfinished. The lunar surface, once believed to be a static wasteland, began to reveal a dynamic history, marked by volcanic eruptions, meteor impacts, and chemical mysteries.
China's lunar robots probed mysteries no human or machine had ever reached. While the world tracked Mars rovers and watched rockets blaze skyward, China quietly set its sights on the unknown, the moon's far side, a shadowed frontier untouched by any previous mission, manned or robotic. Their first landing, deep within the ancient von Karman crater, rewrote the rules. This crater, resting inside the vast South Pole Aitken Basin, is one of the oldest and deepest scars in the entire solar system, almost 4 billion years old. For comparison, when this crater formed, the earliest forms of life on Earth were just beginning to emerge. By drilling here, the Chang'e missions reached lunar layers sealed away since the dawn of time. What they returned with stunned scientists everywhere. For the first time in history, actual rocks from the moon's mantle, the mysterious inner layer below the crust, were harvested. Not even the Apollo missions had managed this. These mantle fragments act like the moon's DNA, unlocking secrets about its violent origins, hidden structure, and early cataclysms. It is as if someone found a fossil record untouched for billions of years, offering a direct line to the moon's tumultuous youth. Yet, that was only the beginning. Some samples were volcanic rocks, younger than anyone expected to find. This discovery shattered the old belief that the moon became geologically dead billions of years ago. Instead, the evidence proved that lunar volcanoes erupted far more recently, hinting at a restless world just beneath the surface. Imagine discovering that a supposedly extinct volcano could still erupt. This is the scale of the surprise. Then came the revelation that shook the field. The moon's near and far sides are not twins. They are nearly like two separate worlds, each marked by unique minerals, histories, and scars from ancient impacts. China's findings proved the far side is not just the hidden face. It is a new frontier with its own story. For decades, textbooks described the moon as a simple, homogeneous sphere. Now we know it is more like a two-faced planet, each half hiding secrets the other cannot reveal. And here's the critical point. These paradigm-shifting samples came from places no human has ever walked. No Western mission has ever touched these sites. The first physical relics from the far side now sit in Chinese laboratories, rewriting scientific textbooks in real time. For the first time since Apollo, the global center of lunar knowledge is shifting eastward. All of this toppled the classic giant impact theory. That old model claimed the moon formed from a single fiery collision and cooled into stillness. But now, the data points to a tangled history, one of uneven cooling, long-hidden volcanoes, and perhaps several waves of cosmic violence. Lunar evolution is not simple. It is a web of mysteries waiting to be unraveled. Think of it like revisiting a crime scene. Old clues are interpreted in new ways, and the story shifts with every new piece of evidence. If other nations keep clinging to outdated playbooks, they risk missing the new rules of lunar science and the clues to resources that could shape the next era: water, helium-3, vital construction materials. China now possesses the first, most complete map of a complex, resource-rich moon. The stakes are enormous. This is not just academic. Some of the secrets China has uncovered could tilt the future balance of energy, industry, and global power. The real contest has barely begun. Buried beneath the powdery regolith, a new mineral, rare fusion fuel, and water where none was expected. But how exactly could these discoveries change the fate of nations and humanity's path beyond Earth? The next chapter reveals how China's lunar findings could upend the world's energy and economic order. This is not science fiction. In the 20th century, the race for oil shaped geopolitics, fueling wars and alliances. In the 21st, the race for fusion fuel could do the same, but the resource is not in deserts or oceans, it is on the moon. Whoever can mine, process, and ship helium-3 back to Earth would hold the power to light up continents.
China's Chang'e landers have uncovered a moon far richer and stranger than anyone imagined, a world loaded with resources that could tilt the balance of global power. Among their most startling finds is a never-before-seen lunar mineral, christened chainsite white. Inside its crystalline structure, scientists discovered something almost priceless, helium-3. This rare isotope could unlock nuclear fusion, clean, limitless energy without radioactive waste or greenhouse gases. But helium-3 is not the only prize. The Chang'e missions also detected water molecules locked inside lunar rocks and minerals. Unlike the shadowed polar craters, this water is scattered across the surface, hidden in plain sight. If extracted, it could support astronauts, nourish crops, or be split into oxygen for breathing and hydrogen for rocket fuel. On Earth, helium-3 is vanishingly scarce. Each year, only a few kilograms are produced, mostly from the decay of tritium in nuclear weapons stockpiles. But on the Moon, helium-3 may be thousands of times more plentiful, baked into the dust by eons of solar wind. Whoever masters the extraction of this element holds the key to an energy revolution, one that could power entire countries and rewrite the rules of the global economy. Imagine a world where cities run on clean fusion power, with no need for polluting fossil fuels or dangerous nuclear waste. With these discoveries, the idea of building moon bases slips from fantasy to engineering challenge. If you can make water, air, and fuel from the ground beneath your boots, the moon transforms into a launch pad for deeper journeys, and whoever claims these resources gains immense strategic leverage. Look closer at China's lunar playbook. Their careful progression, robotic landings, sample retrievals, detailed resource mapping does not resemble exploration for curiosity's sake. It resembles a blueprint for settlement, finding the richest deposits, testing extraction tech, and quietly preparing for a future where lunar riches drive a new space economy. The race is no longer just about planting flags. It is about who will shape the future and who will be left to watch from below. To put this in perspective, water is the ultimate enabler for space exploration. In the early days of Antarctic exploration on Earth, expeditions were limited by their ability to carry supplies. The moment explorers learned to extract water from snow and ice, they could travel farther, stay longer, and build permanent bases. The moon is following the same script. With local water, lunar habitats become feasible, and the moon itself becomes a refueling station for missions deeper into space. The stakes could not be higher. Control of lunar water and helium-3 means controlling tomorrow's energy, the ability to live and work off Earth, and perhaps the very keys to the solar system. For nations left behind, the danger is not just missing new wealth, but becoming dependent or sidelined in humanity's next great leap. While the world argues and imagines, China is quietly preparing for a permanent presence on the moon, a head start that could define the coming century. Each Chang'e mission is more than a milestone. The first mapped the moon in stunning detail. The next refined those maps, then landed a rover, then returned lunar samples. Each step building technical muscle, not just gathering souvenirs. Now, the plan is unfolding. The International Lunar Research Station. It begins as a robotic network, autonomous landers, rovers, orbiters, all working together. The next leap is bold, a permanent human-occupied outpost, not just a visit, but a foothold that endures. These missions have done the heavy lifting. Detailed surface and soil maps, precision landings, including the far side, untouched by any nation before, and delivery of samples never seen on Earth. Yet the larger ambition grows clearer with every launch. Turn discoveries into strategy, then strategy into infrastructure. In parallel, China is testing how to extract oxygen and water from lunar soil, and how to use local materials for construction. Experiments in on-site resource use, automated building, and robotic teamwork are already underway. These are rehearsals for a future where humans and machines survive together, living off the land, not just passing through. But what does all this mean for the rest of us?
watching from a world below as these new foundations take hold.
Contrast that with the rest of the world. The Artemis program, meant to return humans to the moon, faces repeated delays and shifting budgets. Private companies from the United States and elsewhere are still testing landers, not yet delivering sustained results. Most are years from even attempting what China has already made routine.
The stakes could scarcely be higher. Whoever builds the first permanent lunar base will set the rhythm for what follows: exploration, industry, even alliances among nations. The moon is now a contest for influence, energy, and a new dimension of power. As rivals debate, revise, and retest, China is quietly setting the rules for the new space era. By building infrastructure and testing real operations, they are shaping who gains access to the lunar surface, what norms will guide exploration, and who holds the keys to the next chapter of space. The moon is no longer just a distant dream or a backdrop for flags. Its resources and who controls them could change everything about how we live, compete, and survive on Earth. The moon is no longer just a relic of the past. It is the next frontier, and the true race is already underway. When you look up tonight, realize that pale beacon is neither empty nor silent. It hums with possibilities, and those who act first will shape not only the moon's fate, but our own history as a species. Throughout history, access to new resources has rewritten the fate of nations. When Europeans found sea routes to Asia, global trade changed forever. When the Industrial Revolution unlocked coal and steam, it launched an age of empires. In the 20th century, oil brought both prosperity and conflict. Now, imagine a world where the next leap hinges not on Earth's land or oceans, but on the silver orb above us. For more than 5 decades, we treated the moon like a museum exhibit, a stage for footprints and fading memories. Yet, hidden beneath its dust, the keys to a new era were waiting: technology, energy, and unexplored wealth. China recognized this. Patiently, they have mapped the surface, analyzed the soil, and brought back treasures, one sample at a time. While much of the world was dazzled by spectacular launches or dreams of Mars, China quietly built its foundation. Their landers and rovers ventured where others hesitated, retrieving secrets no one else holds. Each mission was not merely a show of strength, but a deliberate step toward ownership, of knowledge, of resources, of the moon's promise for the future. The story of space is being rewritten. The moon is no longer a passive bystander to old rivalries. It is the launch pad for humanity's next leap. The silent contest has already begun, and the stakes are higher than ever before. Here lies the risk. If we ignore this transformation, we could wake to a reality where tomorrow's energy, technology, and prosperity flow through those who possess the moon's riches. Water for rocket fuel, helium-3 for clean power, rare metals for industries yet to be imagined. These are no longer distant fantasies. Falling behind now risks surrendering not only prestige, but economic and scientific power for generations to come. So the next time you gaze at the moon, remember, it is not just something to admire. It is a world being claimed, piece by piece, in the shadows. The only question is, will we realize what is at stake before it is too late? The moon's story is being written right now. Do we watch from afar, content with old myths and faded glory? Or do we join the new explorers, shaping a future where the benefits of space are open to all? But there is hope. The moon need not become the exclusive domain of a single nation. History is full of moments when competition turned into cooperation, when rivalries led to remarkable partnerships. The International Space Station, for example, brought together nations that once stood on opposite sides of the Cold War. The Antarctic Treaty turned an entire continent into a reserve for science and peace. These precedents show that the rules of engagement can be written anew if the world pays attention,
acts boldly, and chooses collaboration over complacency.
Finally, imagine a future where the moon is not a battleground, but a shared platform for progress. Picture multinational research bases, lunar cities powered by fusion, and supply chains that reach from the lunar surface to Mars and beyond. Each step toward cooperation multiplies the rewards and reduces the risks of conflict or exclusion.
The answer will shape not just the future of the moon, but the destiny of our civilization.
So what practical steps can be taken? First, invest in lunar science, not just flashy missions, but deep, systematic exploration. This means funding universities and laboratories, supporting international collaboration, and sharing data openly. Second, establish clear policies. Who can extract resources, how benefits are shared, and what rules will prevent a new lunar arms race. Third, educate the public. The moon is not just for astronauts or billionaires. Its fate will affect every person on Earth, from the energy in our homes to the technologies we use every day.
The choice is ours. The window is narrow, and the stakes could not be higher. When you next look up at the moon, see not just its beauty, but its promise, and remember that the most important chapter is yet to be written. Will we seize this moment, or let it slip away?